Okay, the next step was to design and implement an IP scheme. This is something you should be capable of doing from 220. Most of the time I find that students are not capable of doing this. So I'm going to run through this quickly. The lab sheet says you should use a /30 network for the link between the routers. So this is the link between the routers, so that should be a /30. If you recollect correctly, a /30 gives you two usable IP addresses. So 1, 2, those are the two IP addresses we'll use for that network. And then it says use a /24 for the PCs. So this will be one /24 network. This will be a different /24 network. The requirements say to configure as much as necessary on your router, switches, and PCs to establish connectivity. And we need to meet some given requirements. This one of the LANs should use static IPs on the PCs. So over here we'll use static. Over here we'll use DHCP, meaning we will need to configure DHCP on the router, which is what we did for the 220 final. So hopefully you kept your notes for that. So I'll go through it, go ahead and configure everything. Get my command prompt up. No, I don't want to enter the configuration dialog because I hate it. I want to be able to think for myself. I said no, fool. Press return to get started. It was waiting for me. I was waiting for it. Alright, enable conf-t. I need to configure my interface for my fiber with an IP address. So I'm going to use different addresses. I'm using weird addresses because I don't want you guys to copy my addresses, because I want you to make up your own addresses. So nobody use my addresses. Remember, we have to do a no shutdown on our router interfaces. No shutdown. I'm going to do a int phase 00. I said use a /24 for that one. Alright, and that's all I need to do for now on that router. For now. If you notice, this router interface is now up. It's green. The switch interface is orange, showing that it's doing the spanning tree process. I did a no shutdown on this one, but it's still showing as red. Why is that? Well, that is because this router is still down, so until both sides are up, neither side can be active. So I'll go put some IP addresses on these PCs. And no DNS server at this point because we haven't configured one. And I'll put a similar IP address on this guy. Say 24-bit mask. And gateway. Alright, so a brief word of warning. This is CNT 240, which means you have passed CNT 220. So expect to experience my wrath if you forget a default gateway and you're trying to ping off your network, or if you put a default gateway that is not in the same network as your PC. So for example, this is the IP address I configured on the router's LAN interface. Lots of times I see people want to do stuff like this. That's the IP address we put on the interface connected to the other router. Well, this interface, this IP address and this IP address are not on the same subnet. Your default gateway must be on the same subnet. So if you configure your stuff and it's not working and you ask me for help and your default gateway on your PC is wrong, I will probably yell at you a little bit. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, probably. So that's configured now. I should go to ping 2.2.2.1, which is my router. Hey, check that out. I should also be able to ping 2.2.2.2, which is my other PC. So that's golden. Everything on this side is good. Now I'm going to go configure the other side. This side will be a little more complex because I said you need to make it a DHCP server. Hopefully I can remember the commands for that without having to look them up. So first we'll configure the fiber interface. no shutdown. If we look at our link, it should be green now. Yes, we have green lights. Green is good. So now we'll configure the 0 interface. Alright, that interface should be coming up. So yep, it's coming up. But now we need to configure the Hcp server. So primarily we need to create a pool IP DHCP pool, and we give it a pool name. Bridge is the best is our pool name. And we need to configure some stuff in here. Network. This needs to be the same network that you assigned onto the router interface for this to work properly. We need to set up a default router, which will be the router interface on that network. And I think that is all we need. We don't have a DNS server. If we had a DNS server and we wanted to use DNS, we'd put the DNS server in there, but we're not doing that right now, so you can skip that. And I believe that is it. So let's go look at our PCs. Let's say get an IP from DHCP, and hopefully it's gonna get an IP. Yeah, so there we go, 3.3.3.2. Config DHCP 3.3.3.3. So now I should be able to ping everything on this side. 3.3.3.1. That's the router. .3 is the other PC. So I pinged up to here, right? Now we need to make sure we have connectivity across, all the way across the LAN. So I will ping the other side. What the heck? 2.2 was the PC on the other side, and we'll see what happens. Oh, I get an error message, destination host unreachable from the router. Oh no. What does that mean? Well, I know, but I'm not going to tell you. That's the one part of the lab you can figure out for yourself if you can't figure it out for yourself. Send me an email, maybe I'll help you out, but I'm not going to tell you that part.